Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. Today's topic, Meet Europe's Big Five, presented by Nat Hab Expedition Leader Andrea Serena. I'm your host, Rob Mess. Thank you for being here with us today. Take it away, Andrea.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Robert. Good morning, and welcome everyone to this new virtual journey dedicated to five of the most incredible animals of our natural environments. Thank you very much to be here. I hope you will enjoy our time together. Let me quickly present myself. Um, my name is Andrea. I'm a nature guide since 2016, a Dolomites National Park guide, and happy to be Nat Hab Expedition Leader since 2019. I do this beautiful job in very different places and environments, but more often in mountain and alpine habitats. Um, then I also teach environmental education, right now mostly to primary school kids. So here we are again to discuss together other amazing animal species that populate our planet. A planet, however, now brought to its knees by the most dominant species, the Homo sapiens, who unconditionally exploits everyone else. This has led to a global decrease in biodiversity. This is why it is essential to learn and educate people to better share spaces, and above all, to improve and increase the conservation of these species and so the environments in which they live. Europe is perhaps one of the most anthropized areas of the world, and where the imprint of man has been felt for the longest time. Uh, the symbol of this exploitation is for example, overbuilding, increasingly confining wildlife to, excuse me, to some small but very important environments that today we can define as refuge areas. In these ecosystems, essential for the conservation of species, you can find iconic animals that have become more famous than others for different reasons, for their size or for their beauty, for their almost disappearance, etc. And so, for example, if we mention the African continent, and I had to choose to talk about the most symbolic species, the famous Big Five will immediately come to mind. So the leopard, the lion, the African elephant, the buffalo, and the rhino, all made famous by 19th century big game hunters in East Africa. And what almost every modern safari enthusiast hopes to see. Um, Okay, but what if we have to choose the big five of the European continent instead? What would the five species be? Well, in 2014, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, mostly considering criteria such as appearance and size, behavior, and the rarity of the species, declared the Eurasian wolf, the Eurasian lynx, the European brown bear, the wolverine, and the European bison to be Europe's big five. And seeing these iconic creatures in the wild is not less exciting than looking at a pride of lions while hunting. Let's therefore begin to get to know more closely these 5 special animals that have an immense ecological value. Starting with the brown bear. So the Eurasian brown bear is a subspecies of brown bear found here in Europe, which is also known as the common brown bear. Is for sure the largest carnivore in continental Europe, where it can be observed in several countries, such as Slovenia, where, for example, Nat Hab brings our guest on an amazing trip that also includes beautiful Croatia. The biggest European population, sorry, is for sure located in the Carpathian, especially in Romania, that recently launched the largest bear census ever attempted in the world to identify using genetic techniques all the more than 6,000 individuals living in the Carpathians Mountain, which are approximately 40% of all bears living in Europe. I'm not considering Russia because more or less 77% of Russia's territory is located in the Asiatic continent. But let's not forget that the bear population there is for sure the largest in the world, counting a total of approximately 120,000 bears. What about this fantastic animal? A very resistant bone structure, large paws equipped with large claws that can reach 4 inches in length, a weight that varies depending on the environment and time of the year, but in general with adult males that can reach the 700, 705 pounds of weight, with females up to 440. Finally, a mouth equipped with 42 teeth, including rather sharp canines. And these easily suggest a super carnivore, an apex predator, just like its majestic cousin, the polar bear. In fact, in ancient times, the European brown bear was predominantly carnivorous, with a diet made up of at least 80% of meat. However, following the destruction of its environment in the late Middle Ages, meat constituted only 40% of its diet. Today, no more than 10-15%. We can see at the top right how varied the European brown bear diet is today. Way different from the past. For the bear, the loss of ecosystems and indiscriminate hunting has made us become the most terrifying, the most fearsome animal from which to escape, and above all, from which to never be seen. Luckily, as we know, these very special mammals have an excellent sense of smell and normally vanish into the woods at the first sign of a human here in Europe. But today, thanks to greater knowledge and respect towards the species, the possibility of seeing this incredible animal in Europe has increased, and perhaps this beautiful creature is slowly realizing that after all, not all humans are as bad as he thought. Now, when we talk about iconic species, we cannot fail to mention those who, among others, have been dealing with the protection of these animals and their environments, habitats, for decades. So for the brown bear and for the next four protagonists of this webinar, we will see what our very important partner WWF is doing in this period and in this area of the world. WWF is in the front line for the protection of this mammal, and right now is supporting the biggest European project at the moment called ARCPROM, where ARC stands for Arctos, the ancient Greek name of the bear, and PROM, that represents the initials words of the initial letters of the four national parks in which the activity take place. So those of Pindos, Prespa Lakes, and Rhodope Mountains, all national parks based in Greece, and the Maiella National Park in Italy, which are the leaders of the project. This is made to ensure more effective protection and peaceful coexistence with human activities, especially because the brown bear is risking extinction in many countries. It is, in fact, abundant in Northern and Eastern Europe, but rare in in those countries bordering the Mediterranean, which are much more anthropized. Good luck to the brown bear. Okay, time for the second species now, the amazing lynx. What can we say? Europe's only big cat, the European lynx or Eurasian lynx, is one of the major predators of the European forest. This gorgeous feline with a spotted coat, short stubby tail, and tufted ears is the largest existing lynx species. There are two species of lynx in Europe: the European lynx, which is generally found in the colder environments, and then the very rare Iberian lynx, which was until a few years ago the rarest feline in the world. Maybe later on during question times we can quickly mention, unfortunately, which are the rarest species right now, regarding, of course, felines. But let's focus on our beautiful European or Eurasian lynx. This animal was once present in all the European continent, but since the end of the 19th century, following the extermination campaigns perpetuated in many countries, the reduction of its habitat, it has become extinct in many areas of Central and Western Europe. Then, in the last decades, luckily, their introduction projects have been implemented, and the situation is much better now if we compare it with the last century. Different important characteristics make these species special. For example, its weight, distributed in such a way as to allow it to move quickly, essential for catching its prey. European lynx weighs up to 57 pounds, but particularly large specimens have been recorded, reaching the 88 pounds of weight. Then it's exceptional vision and hearing, and finally, an amazing agility. This cat can jump up to a height of almost 10 feet. Is an incredible, silent, and lonely predator. The lynx hunts both small or medium-sized animals such as hares, rodents, foxes, birds, but also larger prey like fallow deer, roe deer, mufflons, young red deers as well, and also wild boars. The northern European lynxes also attack reindeer and sometimes young moose, which can be dangerous for them, but except in the winter period when the movements of these large prey are made more difficult by the snow. Of course, we're not talking about a fully grown moose, but you know, a lynx can kill sometimes even a juvenile. The European lynx has very few enemies, and even if attacked, its forest environment and its climbing skills keep it safe from danger. In its territory, the lynx competes with other special guests of this webinar, for sure the wolf and the wolverine as well, which, unlike the wolf, can also chase the lynx up trees. Let me spend a few words about WWF, which has been committed since the 1970 to restore and protect lynx populations. Regarding the alpine front, WWF, Switzerland, Austria, Slovenia, and Italy collaborate to safeguard the species in this vast area, actively supporting also the Life Links project, which to date represents the most significant European project for the survival of these species. Uh, in particular, it focuses on the population present in the area of the Dinaric Alps and the southeastern Alps. Um, Also in this project, we find among the main action the translocation of healthy individuals from viable population of Slovakia and Romania, where the lynx uh, has very good population and good numbers to date. All right, time for the third beauty now, the wolf. Another very special guest, the Eurasian wolf, a subspecies of gray wolf native to these territories. It is the largest of the old world gray wolves with an average weight of 86 pounds, but some specimens can exceptionally reach even under 75, 180 pounds of weight. They mainly prey on the wild ungulates such as deer, wild boars, roe deer, or chamois, but many population of European wolves that live in areas also occupied by humans feed as well on domestic livestock like cows, goats, sheep, or reindeer up north, and also on human waste. Um, just like the golden jackal, I would say, which recently is always more common to find in southern Europe, especially. um, this is an animal with an incredible sociality and much more similar to us than we think. It has a very advanced body language and is gregarious, and so a very cooperative animal. It is, in fact, the first animal domesticated by man, starting more or less 15,000 years ago. And of course, from which domestic dogs obviously derive. An amazing but also often hated animal. For centuries, the symbol of evil, a fearsome creature of many fairy tales, persecuted until disappearing in many European areas. As you can see from the pictures on the right, poaching and brutal killings are unfortunately still taking place. But there are also good news. In fact, the wolf has recently made a surprising return to much of Europe, with a total population today that probably already exceeds 21,000 specimens in the European Union alone, and which fortunately continue to grow. Um, Despite this, the wolf knows how dangerous humans are and strongly tries to avoid it, to avoid humans, and therefore, in most cases, they remain here in Europe very difficult animal to spot in the wild. By the way, among Nat Hab's European trips, there's Greenland, one of the few places where, if lucky enough, you can spot the amazing Arctic wolf, which is a subspecies of the gray wolf. Fantastic animal. Regarding the protection and the conservation of these species, we find our partner WWF in the front line. Now, for example, is raising its voice against the president of the European Commission, who, against all scientific evidence, together with other politicians, proposed to downgrade the protection status of the wolf. So, from a strictly protected species to a protected species. This would open up more easily to selective hunting, and therefore WWF strongly underlines its absolute opposition and invites European member states to reject this proposal. Let's hope so. The president of the European Commission probably wants to get justice, given that in 2022 a wolf attacked and killed her beloved pony on her estate. We are truly very, very sorry for the pony, but we will be much more disappointed if this request to downgrade the level of protection of the gray wolf will be accepted. Okay, now it's time to talk about what we could jokingly define the gangster of the European Big Five, the beautiful, incredible Wolverine. This gorgeous animal is a member of the mustelid family. Let's say it's like a weasel on steroids. The Wolverine can be as large as a medium-sized dog. It's a very strong animal, and it knows how to be very aggressive, so much that even bears run away from it. Just incredible behavior, incredible biology, to put in the bucket list for sure. It is in mine. since I was a child. Um, the wolverine is a carnivorous mammal, widespread in the Arctic, mostly in the Arctic areas of Europe, as well as Asia and North America, and diverged from its common ancestor in Eurasia a few million years ago, and then long time later, using the Bering Strait, once completely frozen, reached North America, expanding them in those territories. In your immense country, you may have a chance to spot it during the incredible Ultimate Alaska Wildlife Safari, an amazing Nat Hab trip. Mm, a chance. Keep in mind, this is truly we can define this animal a ghost. To see a wolverine is a big gift, let's say. But who knows? An adult male can measure up to 4 feet in length, plus other, let's say, 10 inches of tail, a shoulder height up to 18 inches, and a weight that can exceptionally reach 70 pounds, but usually remaining around 45. Excuse me. The female is up to a third smaller than the male. This size makes it the largest of the terrestrial mustelids, while the sea otter and the giant otter reach even larger sizes, but as we know, they are uh, within the same family, mammals much more um, present in aquatic environments. Um, the wolverine has short and strong legs, equipped with this wide sole which allow it to run on the snow without sinking into it. Then the jaw is equipped with powerful muscle which allow the wolverine to release with its bite such a force as to break the femur of a reindeer. So big bones. Um, then its long and pointed canines and molars as well are capable to tear pieces of meat, even from frozen prey. Incredible. Wolverine feeds mostly on medium, small sized prey such as hares, rodents, beavers, galliforms, marmots, etc. However, it is also able to successfully hunt bigger prey such as reindeers, roe deers, and animals up to 5 times larger than an average sized wolverine, for example, red deers. If necessary, wolverine do not hesitate to hunt other predators as well, like lynxes, foxes, or wolf pups, but these only happen in the case of lean periods. In fact, wolverines tend to focus on prey that are relatively easy to hunt, especially hindered by deep snow. Considering that these creatures of the northern forest are notoriously difficult to spot, um, seeing a wolverine while hunting is for sure is probably one of the best gifts nature can give us. Let's now see WWF, what's happening with the wolverine. at least here in Europe. I will focus on Finland, where WWF is fighting against the decision. For now, it's only a draft, but anyway, the decision of the Agriculture and Forestry Ministry, which is proposing to allow the hunting of wolverine in reindeer herding areas in northern and eastern Finland. Um, Over there, wolverine hunting has been illegal for more than 30 years now. Yet herders claim that wolverine attacks on reindeers have been making their herding operation unsustainable. Mm, I close the consideration with a fact. In Finland, there are approximately 200 wolverines and 200,000 reindeer. Perhaps it will be better to find a correct balance between the parties, but above all, to realize that we have no right in deciding the fate of a wolverine. If anything, the duty to protect it. This is an incredible species we cannot lose. Perfect. It's time now for the last of our Europe's big five. The one that we really risked losing forever. An animal that has seen its complete extinction very close. Let's talk about the exceptional, amazing European bison. Uh, it is the largest terrestrial wild animal remaining in Europe. Uh, it generally measures up to almost 10 feet in length and up to 7.2 feet in height, and weighs up to 2,030 pounds, more than 900 kilo. The moose is certainly taller, but the bison is without doubts heavier and longer. Um, I'm talking about European bison and so European moose. Thanks to its size, horns, and gregarious behavior, the European bison has almost no natural enemies. Its only real predator besides man is the wolf, but although they are capable of killing an adult, wolves prefer much more to catch calves, which are, of course, much easier to hunt. Then we have to say that another occasional predator of small bisons, calves, or juveniles is the brown bear. This amazing animal was once widespread in Europe, but okay, here we see some beautiful moments. This is very rare to catch. All right. Yeah, I was saying the European bison was widespread in all the continent mostly, but starting from the Middle Age, it was commonly killed to obtain meat, leather, and for the horns used to create, for example, drinking glasses. Its range has increasingly shrunk following the expansion of human settlements and by the early 20th century, hunters had driven this beautiful animal to extinction in the wild. It must be said that in addition to hunters and poachers, many bisons were victims of the First World War. For example, when German troops occupied Poland, I'm talking about First World War. Of course, German occupying Poland sounds like World War II, but no, we are around 1915, 1916. When they occupied Poland, and so the Białowieża forest, where there was the last remaining large herd of European bison, they killed 600 animals, with only 9 bisons left alive. Then imagine that in Poland, the last bison was killed in 1919, while the very last wild bison was killed by poachers in 1927, but that was in the Western Caucasus. At the time, there were only fewer than 50 European bisons left, all in zoos or private properties. In these maps, you can see the distribution of the bison starting from long time ago, early Holocene, so more or less 10,000 years ago. In today's map, at the bottom right, the very last reintroduction is missing. In fact, only in July 2022, thanks to the Wilder Bloom project, 3 bisons were released into the Kent countryside in Great Britain. The first big step to bring the giant of Europe back to the last territory from which it had been missing for thousands of years. So just add to that bottom right map 3 bisons in UK. I remember they first released 3 females, and I'm not sure a male arrived yet, but it's super positive. It will be incredible to spot one day a free roaming bisons also in England. Then, fortunately, starting from those kept in captivity, and thanks to intense captive breeding and strict conservation rules, plus successful rewilding programs, the European bison has returned to European forests slowly, but is back. Here in these pictures, you see perfect habitats of this bison, which is not like the American bison. It prefers much more to stay inside the forest. And so these pictures are taken mostly between Poland and Belarus in the Białowieża area, an amazing forest, probably the most natural forest we still have here in Europe. Anyway, these breeding programs began in 1923 with a total of 12 bisons divided in 2 groups, always being kept genetically separated, and that generated a total of more or less 2,000 bisons each group. So in fact, today the total number counts between 3,500 and 4,000 European bison. partly in zoos and partly in nature, mostly kept in a semi-natural environment, except for the animals in the Bialowieza forest, where they also live completely wild. The the reintroduction program that began in 1951 has been very successful. For example, the Bialowieza forest, again between Poland and Belarus, is currently home to 800 European bisons. But the species also lives in Russia, in Western Caucasus. Some have also been observed in the Chernobyl exclusion zone, free from human influence. Other herds also live in Lithuania, other in Latvia, other in Ukraine, Slovakia, Kyrgyzstan, and then small ones in France, Moldova, Spain, Denmark, Romania, Netherlands, and then Switzerland, Germany, and the very last one, UK. We just mentioned Russia, and it is precisely Russia that makes us understand that the European bison is by no means safe from possible future extinction. The population there in European Russia has suffered a rapid decline due to hunting, despite the reintroduction activity. I just give you a number. In the Caucasus, about 60 European bison were killed only a few years ago, and other populations are drastically declining. Human. Fortunately, the number of people and organization fighting for animal protection are numerous and strong. And as always, we spend a word about WWF. And among the various projects, I would like to mention the one WWF Romania is carrying out together with the Rewilding Europe Association. So this is an amazing project that began in 2014 and is focusing on the reintroduction of the European bison into the Carpathians territory, where they had been missing for the last 2 centuries. And today, so 10 years later, we are starting to notice concrete and incredibly positive changes. Today, in the area of the Tarcu Mountains in Romania, live one of the largest herds of bisons in Europe. They are around 170 individuals who have repopulated the area thanks to this reintroduction project. As we said before, now the total number counts more or less 4,000 animals. The aim is to get soon to 6,000-7,000, and hopefully to reach the 10,000 animals in the next 15 years. Good luck to the European bison. Well, we are at the end of this webinar. We got to know a little better about 5 special mammals, which remind us how humanity knows how to be destructive towards the environment and biodiversity, but also how it knows how to dedicate itself to safeguarding the planet, and how, if we want, we can give something back to the natural world after having only taken and demanded for too long. Um, Thank you so much. If you have any question or any curiosities, I will be happy to answer. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Andrea. Now, before we start in with the question and answer session, I would like to remind everyone that you can submit your questions via the question field in your control panel. All right, let's dive into some questions. So, since the wolf is so prevalent, are people confronted by them more often?
Uh, Sorry, Robert. I did hear
Are
you well.
are people confronted more often by wolves since they are so much more prevalent?
Um, well, I can tell you this. Here where I live, this is an area between hills area between the Venice Lagoon and the Dolomites, so northeast Italy, Mediterranean Europe, let's say just before the Alps. And we have a good number of wolves that is increasing very, very quickly. And we start having, let's say, problems with the wolves. Um, and sometimes people start to see few individuals wandering around towns, especially during nighttime. And, populations start to be worried because they are really increasing. And at the same time, other predators arrive, for example, the golden jackal. So um, people is divided. There is this huge group that think that it's not possible to see a wolf wandering near humans, and other people are super happy that finally wildlife is doing this very important comeback. To answer, yeah, this is happening mostly in Southern Europe, basically because we spend too much time, too long in covering this continent with concrete. And as we know, especially when we talk about wolf, when a territory is taken by a pack, there is no possibility for another pack to join the same territories. So they just start to find another place. And when a completely natural environment is not available, it's time for the wolf to join humans' areas. So, yes, we start to see them more often. Uh, let's say for some people, they call it problem. This is increasing. I think we can find the right balance. And the first, let me use this word, the first weapon we can use is the um, environmental education. So we are pushing a lot at school, and people slowly realizing that we can live together just like we did for thousands and thousands of years. I will say that when the last territories will be taken, unfortunately, laws will change, And as we said before, European Commission is already thinking about to start selective hunting here and there. So fingers crossed for the wolf, but situation is evolving very, very fast and right now.
So how often do bison reproduce, and how many do they have at a single time?
Um, well, usually the females is ready to reproduce when is at least 4 years old, and if the condition are perfect, so good earth, enough food, good environments, and um, an area with no pathology or sicknesses deriving from other animals or domestic animals. Because let's remember, these animals are very strong, but that's a genetic that comes from 12 individuals. Uh, the female can reproduce once a year, usually having one or two calves.
Got it. Thank you. Are the lack of numbers for the European bison making the population suffer from lack of genetic diversity?
Uh, yes, it is, but that was the only way to bring back the animal to its old territories. There was no way except the interbreeding, so using other different species. We can try with the American bison, but they tried to keep the original genetic of the European bison. Interbreeding it will be a bigger problem. Let's see what happens. But for sure, genetic is not what we dream about. This comeback is not a good genetic, but what can we do? Through natural hybridization or gene transfer or genetic engineering, everything is possible, but until some point after that, we had those individuals, and from those individuals, we arrived to repopulate almost the entire continent. Fingers crossed, we have just to avoid some very dangerous pathology and viruses. But until now, the program, the reintroduction program, are working very well. So let's see.
So outside of the bear, which you mentioned, is it possible to see the rest of the big five on the Croatia and Slovenia trip?
Um, so I personally saw the wolf and the brown bear in Slovenia. There is no way, no possibility to spot for sure the wolverine that live near the Arctic. So at least from northern Scandinavia. European bison, not yet in Slovenia. Slovenia is pushing a lot with other projects right now. For example, they are doing great with lynx, but not yet with the European bison. Um, I will say brown bear first, then, if lucky enough, you can spot wolves, and they have a good number of lynxes, but not easy to spot that. So I will remain with brown bear and wolves.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Well,
Thank you.
unfortunately, Andrea, that it will be the last question that we do have time for today. So I'd like to throw it back to you for your closing comments.
Well, I'd like to thank our guest again. Thank you very much. And thank you, Nat Hab, who gives me the opportunity to talk about animals, which is my biggest passion. And what can I say? I wish you all a happy winter and and of course, good luck for our 2 hour fantastic big five. So thank you very much and have a good day.
Andrea, thank you so much for taking the time to present for us today. And I'd also like to thank everyone who tuned in today. If you're interested in information on how you can travel with Nat Hab, please give us a call at the number on your screen, or you can send us an email at info@nathab.com. Our adventure specialists are happy to help you out. Join us Monday for our next daily dose of nature. You can check out next week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude today's webinar. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time.